everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Been a month since I raced Transgrancanaria 48 kilometers in the beautiful island of Gran Canaria, and before that, 5 days before, I raced Barcelona half marathon, and those were my 2 A races of this season. I've been spending the last few weeks getting back into training, also battling the longest cold I have ever had in my entire life. Who knew you could have a cold for, what is it now? 24 days. Nothing crazy, nothing too bad, but I've been kind of trying to sort that out whilst also getting back into training. And I train in a very specific way when I come off the back of a big race, whether that is a speedy half marathon or an ultra marathon. There's always a couple of weeks of downtime afterwards, and then as I get back into training, there's a very specific way that I train. So I'm heading out for a run this morning. It's going to be a beautiful trail run up in Blaise Estate, which is one of my favourite places to run here in Bristol. Not super flat, but it is a really gorgeous place. I'm going to be taking the dog and the boyfriend out to burn some energy from them both, and I'll be talking about the way that I train when I have finished a race and before I start training for another race. So it's kind of that interim period between actually doing a race and when you've actually recovered and before you start training for your next race. So this is a time that I think people spend quite a lot of time in, that kind of interim period. I tend not to. There's usually maximum like a month or 6 weeks, but it's still a really important time for me, and I'll explain a little bit more when I'm out for the run. So without further ado, I guess we better get out. So we're off on our run. I'm here with Rhian and the dog over there, and this is one of my favourite parts of the week when we actually get to do this, because nice little family outing, but it is so muddy. I'm wearing my summer trail shoes for some unknown reason. It's been pretty dry recently, and then last night, the night before, it rained. As you can see, not beautiful weather today. I forgot how wet it got here underfoot, so I'm going to be slippy sliding around the place. But I'm sure it's good for me in some way. Happy go. One of the best things I've taught Tia is how to pull me up a hill. Useful dog. Like I said, we're in Blaise Estate today, and this is one of my favourite green spaces in Bristol to run, because it's pretty wild. You get the open spaces like this and then the woodlands as well, and it's pretty hilly except for this one flat bit, which is why we're doing it today, because I am tired. But I've got a blog post. I get asked all the time where my favourite places, my favourite trails in Bristol are, and I got a blog post of the best of Bristol trails, where I list all my faves, and it's got one road section in there as well, and they're all brilliant. Look at all those daffodils, so pretty. You can smell them on the run as well. Amazing. My hay fever doesn't love it, but very pretty. Spring has sprung. So pretty. Whew, any excuse to stop, honestly. So I mentioned I was going to talk about how I trained in between races when I'm not training for anything, and more so recently I've noticed how when I don't keep up my gym routine, I lose muscle a lot quicker than I used to. And obviously that's been compounded by the last 2 years of barely any gymming, to be honest. I do a few weeks here and there, and then fall out of the habit of it, or prioritise running or whatever it is. And I think as runners, we think just the more mileage the better. And to an extent that's true, but not at the expense of injury resistance and strength. And there's some interesting research coming out at the moment that shows that even if you reduce mileage to make it happen, fitting in 1 to 2 gym sessions a week not only decreases your injury risk, but also improves your performance, your running performance that is. So
it shows you're not really sacrificing anything doing more gymming. So that leads me on to what I do basically, which is more gymming, building strength and trying to build that strength so that when I eventually get back into running and can't do as much strength training, so say 1 gym session a week, I'm starting from a much higher starting point and have a lot more resilience in my body to those training loads that I'm putting it under. So for the last couple of weeks I've not actually done that much running. I've been running to and from the gym, a couple of longer runs like this here and there, but when I say longer I mean 6-7 kilometers. And my gym sessions are about 45 minutes long and focused very much on building lower body strength, especially posterior chain, and also lateral movement, which I think is super important for trail running because, you know, when you're road running you're just literally like 1 foot in front of the other, unilateral, so you're just going like straight forwards basically. When you're trail running, like this for example, you have to do a lot of jumping side to side, and if your body isn't strong enough to manage that, you're a lot more prone to injury or falling or just getting tired towards the end of, say, an ultra marathon on technical trails. So I've been doing lots and lots of things like weighted lunges, some deadlifts, and one of the things that sparked me to go back to the gym was putting my back out, doing something really, really innocuous, where I've never got injured before. And I was like, wow, if age 29 I'm putting my back out doing a bit of spading in the garden, then I really need to get a stronger back, because it's not going to get much better without strengthening it first. So that takes me to my training block now, which is at least a month, because I haven't signed up to my next race yet. At least a month of gymming 2 to 3 times a week and running just as and when I like and as and when the dog needs a bit of extra exercise. And it's nice because it shifts things up a little bit, gives you a kind of mental break between training blocks. I mean, however much you love running, sometimes the pressure of hitting certain paces and distances can get a bit tedious. So this just allows me to do whatever I want when it comes to running, whatever I have the energy for. And I run every time I go to the gym, so that's always my warm-up. But then also build up strength in a way that I'm unable to do when I'm training for a race. So we're nearing the end of the run now. We've done 6 kilometers and doggie's having a zoomie and boyfriend's also having a zoomie. Anything to get them both out and reduce the energy levels, honestly. Lisa having fun. Gee, I'm gonna go and get you. Oh, happy dog. There she goes, proper zoomies. Oh, I wish I had that much energy. That would be so nice, wouldn't it? Imagine ending every run on the zoomies. It's exactly what she does. Run done, and that was just over 6 kilometers. Tia is tired-ish. I'm definitely tired. That takes me to just over 21 kilometers, something like that for the week, plus an hour and a half, just over an hour and a half of gym session, which might not sound like much, but actually when you're just coming back from a few months off from whatever it is, so whether you've had an injury or just haven't trained for a bit, or if you've been racing and are easing back into training, doing sort of more frequent short sessions, I think, is the best way of doing it. And I feel like I've done some really good work this week. I already have been lifting a bit heavier after the last 2 weeks of deadlifting, and I feel like my muscles are just kind of remembering what it is to actually be worked in a way that is a little bit more intense than just running. So yeah, that's my top tips. If you have been off for a while, just build up strength between your races for so many different reasons, and as you get older it's much harder to put down muscle as well, so it pays to try and keep that muscle so that you're not losing it and gaining it each time. So that is what I'm trying to do right now, and I'm really enjoying it as well. I'm enjoying the sort of change in pace of my running too. Definitely got a lot slower, but I've really been enjoying that, and I think it's worthwhile. So that is it for this week's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'm off to the garden centre now, which is my favourite Sunday afternoon activity, although it's still Sunday morning activity, and I am going to buy some plants and stick them in the garden because it is officially spring, and that makes me very happy. But that is it, and I will see you next time. Bye!